Hey y'all, and welcome to Crown Television. We're all about our crowns and never about them clowns. I'm your host, Terry J, and tonight we're going to be discussing The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, episode 11. I hope y'all are liking, subscribing, and commenting on my videos because I takes my time and types them the fuck out and highlight them and number them, okay? Like, these notes take a lot because I mean it. So, like they do on every episode, they cut back to the episode before that. And on episode 11, they cut back to episode 10. And episode 10, they just showed Heather crying in the hot tub, begging for Jen's friendship. And they showed Steve, Whitney's dad, and his turmoil that he's going through with rehab and sober living. And then they show Sharrieff and Jen and them breaking new ground and coming to a new beginning after she blew up his birthday party. So they start the episode and Mary M. Cosby is on the first scene talking with her husband about the house that they have in Florida. And she goes through the list of property that they own again. And she's like, oh, I really want to keep it. And the husband is like, you know, we probably should get rid of it because it's causing problems. And then Mary asks, well, if I start causing problems, are you going to get rid of me? And the husband's like, oh, what in the world are you talking about? And I thought she should be saved as long as there's no other granddaughters to marry or anything like that. You know, because he is her grandfather. So as long as she only has a boy, so as long as she doesn't have girls and have granddaughters, then I guess he wouldn't trade her in. Then they cut to Brooks and Meredith. They are shopping for health foods. They're always on one of the first scenes. And Meredith has this really like confidential walk. I love her walk. She's so tall and her feet are so big and she's just like always. Did she used to be a runway model? Then they cut to Jen and Sharrieff and they are working together to set Heather up on a blind date. And Jen said that she heard Heather's pleas and cries at the hot tub and she wants to be a better friend to Heather. Then they cut to Whitney and her family. They come over for dinner to get a feel of Steve. So Whitney starts going into their family tree and she said, oh, my family's a product of multiple marriages and multiple batches of children. So I kind of was asking myself, was Whitney one of those, you know, she's Mormon, they're all Mormon, was she one of those Mormon families that grew up, you know, with multiple wives? She says it's been 10 years since her and her brother and sister and her dad and herself have all sat down together and had dinner, and she wants her siblings to know it's safe to trust Steve again. Steve finally gets there. It's a little awkward at first, you know, everybody haven't been in the room in 10 years, but you know, they're talking and Will is like, so what's so different this time than the last time? And Steve starts saying weird shit. He's just like, oh, I might go through this again to be around you guys, you know. I'm thankful for my addiction because it brought us all back together. And if it wasn't for my addiction, we wouldn't all be here right now. And the siblings are looking at him like, what the fuck you talking about? But Whitney keeps trying to redirect him and reroute him, you know, to make it some sense. Like, what do you mean? Do you mean if you were not a pill addict, there would not be a storyline for Whitney on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and that's why we all here? Are you proud of your addiction? This ain't gonna work. I don't believe Steve. They cut to Heather and Sharrieff and Jen, and they're on a double date, honey. They're about to set Heather up on a blind date, and Heather is so excited because you know she already knows it's gonna be some black dick, so she just, it don't even matter about the rest. Like, that's just the criteria right there. She said she wants to spend as much time as possible with Heather. So finally Heather's blind date walk in, and his name is Big Daddy, aka Big Easy, and he's this big, tall, 6'7", brawny, smooth black guy wearing a Kango. He had Heather at being black, so you know she's smitten. She's like, oh God, should I sit down? Should I stand up? Shake his hand? Should I hug him? What should I do? She's so nervous. They're like, girl, let's just order you a drink. Like, you need to calm down. She orders a vodka and water. Then Big Daddy, the Big Easy, orders a Shirley Temple. And then when it comes, it has the 2 little small black straws in it. And I'm like, oh, he gonna take the straws out because he's too big to sip out of a big bitch sipper. And what does he do? With a pinky up. And Heather was like, now wait a minute now, because Big Daddy drinking like a big baby. So that was strike 1. So then Jen started talking about Heather's beauty lab, her business, and Big Daddy cut them off and was like, yo, look at my drink. They put an orange peeling in my Shirley Temple. I've never seen this before. Anyway, strike 2. So they go on talking, and the girls start asking Big Daddy what does he do for a living, and apparently he's some sort of juvenile director, you know, for wayward children. So he starts talking about that and talking, and finally, you know, Heather's bored to death and she's tired of this, you know, boring sober talk, and she's ready to go. And Big Daddy's like, whoa, wait a minute, we ain't gonna get no dessert. And Heather was like, oh yeah, you could just get a Slurpee on that. So that was that. Anyway, they cut to Whitney, who says the girls have not been together since the shit show that was Sharif's birthday party where Jen blew up, and she wants to invite all the girls to Vegas to get lit and reconnect. So she calls everybody, invites everybody to Vegas. She calls Heather, Jen, Meredith. Of course, Meredith's not gonna answer until she answers to Lisa fucking Barlow. They have to talk first. But she calls Mary, and Mary asked, was Jen going? And Whitney said, yeah, I am gonna invite Jen. And Mary said, well, I'm not going. I'd rather be on an airplane with rats. And by the way, I have a house in Vegas. I love it out there, because you know, she can't tell us. Meredith checks with Lisa to see if she's going, and Lisa discussed how Whitney has not apologized to them for telling Jen that they told Mary that they were afraid of her, how she haven't said sorry yet for causing all this shit. Jen has appointed herself as CEO of fun of the trip, and Whitney gets some Vegas extensions. It looks good. So they all show up at the airport, all except Lisa fucking Barlow. And on the plane, Jen admits she had too much Botox because she can't even change her face for the pictures. Anywho, so they get their limos come. They need a second limo just for Jen's luggage, and they're off. So then Whitney has a race car event planned, and Jen is like, you know, me and Heather will not be able to make it to the race car event because I have a surprise for Heather. So Whitney is stuck going with Tia and Tamara Mowry, aka Lisa and Meredith. Lisa's like, you know, I'm here in Vegas. I've been here working. I didn't tell Whitney because I don't feel like I have to RSVP to come to Vegas because Vegas is nothing. It's not like she's taking me to Italy. And I got super offended because I went on my motherfucking wedding honeymoon to Vegas, and I had the time of my life. Like, I felt like I was out of the country. Like, it was lit. Like, how she found a way to turn her nose down at Vegas, the most lit spot ever. Like, I don't know, but she was like, this ain't Italy. Like, I'm not about to RSVP with nobody. Like, they taking me to Italy. This is nothing. This is just Vegas. Like, just when I thought, they cut to Heather because Jen has taken her away to some other place, and Heather's like, dang, I feel bad that she took me away from Whitney's event, which her event is to go race cars. She's like, I'm sad that I'm not doing that, but I am just glad that I get to hang out with Jen, you know, because she lit. And Jen brings her to this big grand surprise. They have a whole section of the hotel just piled up with shoes and clothes and costumes and all this retail that they could buy. And Jen said, I had them to come and set up a store here so we can go shopping privately because I feel like me trying to set you up with Big Daddy was a big flop. So I still want to make things right with you. Let's go shopping, you know, while they all racing race cars. Been this happy this whole season as she is in these moments with Jen trying to make it right for her. Like, it's like an infatuation. Like, she's just so like, oh, like on cloud nine. It's so weird. So they having fun. Jen tries to climb up on the bar. She falls. Grand time. So then Whitney is stuck with Lisa and Meredith, and they're in the limo on the way to the race cars. And Whitney says it's so boring, it's almost like church. And you got 3 different people in the car, and Whitney's just like, yeah, so I'm so glad we're able to come and race cars and talk about everything that's going on, you know. And Lisa fucking Barlow was like, hold that thought. Yes. Oh, yes. There's so much business going on. It's really busy here. I wish I could talk, but I'm just so busy. Too bad I can't talk. And then Meredith is in the back seat, just looking weird as fuck because she feels bad for Whitney. Like, bitch, you trying. She's just like. And it's just a weird ass fucking ride all the way to the race cars. And nobody's really saying, you know, what's really on their mind. They're just like, oh, I'm just stuck with this shit. So they get to the cars and the staff is explaining the different race cars. And Lisa fucking Barlow goes, I drive a Porsche Panamera in real life. So which car would be better for me? And everybody's looking like crickets. Like, bitch, we don't care. Like, anyway, he's like, oh, you got on red. Drive the red one. What the fuck? So then they get on the racetrack and everybody's doing 130 miles per hour. Lisa fucking Barlow is doing 70. But yet, she's all about race cars. She does this. She has a Porsche Panorama. She's the shit. She lies about she hypes everything up, and then it's a lie, you know. Anyway, so they get out of the cars, and Whitney apologizes to Lisa and Meredith and says, you know, I'm sorry. I won't, you know, bring up rumors again. They was like, next time you hear something about us, all we ask is that you come to the source, because actually we had fun today and we do want to forgive you. Fuck it, like, let's move on. And it was a great moment. So it cuts back to Heather and Jen, and they just having a great time. They all carefree. And Heather said, you know, we had a great time, even though this was a surprise for me, but Jen brought more stuff for herself. But, you know, fine, you know, she's my friend. Jen closes in and she says, listen, now, I know you're friends with Whitney, but we don't like her. And as great of a friend as I've been to you, I know that you're just going to go ahead and take my side and understand that you need to dump her. And Heather was like, well, why? Because I thought y'all was cool. Like, because low-key, Heather and Whitney are very close. They've been close the whole season. Well, if you're going to be her friend, you have a lot of people to answer to. I don't like her. Lisa doesn't like her. Meredith doesn't like her. Little does Jen know they've already all made up. She's like, so, there's no reason for you to like her. And Heather is like, well, I don't understand. Why would I not like her? Because you threw a party at you threw a glass at your husband's birthday party because you was upset. Jen was just starting yelling, going off. Oh, you're going to be my fucking friend and you're not going to hang out with her. And then it's starting to wrap up the episode. And Heather's like, oh, I see. If you want to be her friend, you just got to be a yes man. I don't know about this. That's kind of the end of that episode. Jen's cussing and yelling and going off at Heather. Like, my friend or hers, pick, choose, one or the other, no in between. They show some scenes from next episodes, and it appears that they may all start to stand up to Jen. So anyway, this was a good episode. Episode 12 has something that happens in every single scene. It's a very big episode, so I'm going to come right back and do episode 12, the review of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm Terry J. This is Crown Television, where we're all about our crowns and never about them clowns. Stay tuned. I'm about to drop another video, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. See y'all in a little bit.